PepsiCo's CEO Indra Nooyi said in an emailed statement yesterday, quote, "I am deeply disturbed that the repugnant behavior of a few players and the NFL's acknowledged mishandling of these issues is casting a cloud over the integrity of the league and the reputations of the majority of players who've dedicated their lives to a career they love." However, PepsiCo is still staying on with their partnership with the NFL. Well, Sir Martin Sorrell, back with me again, the founder,
back again,
of course.
Back again. We're the warm-up act to the real.
That was a warm-up. So so this is the real conversation. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm talking about the panel.
The warm-up panel to them. Yes. Okay.
That's the warm-up act.
So on the NFL, though, these CEOs coming out, they're finally coming out saying this is absolutely the worst behavior. The NFL should have done more earlier. Too little, too late?
Not too little, too late. Responding, I think, reactive, to be fair, reactive rather than proactive. I think there was a chance, actually, for some of the sponsors to get out ahead of the wave on this. But this is a reaction
including
to
PepsiCo, by the way, which is identified with the NFL.
Indra's statement is very strong. Very strong. To her credit, it's very strong, and you know, I agree wholeheartedly with it. But you're seeing it from other sponsors as well. You're seeing it, actually, those that hesitated earlier on have now come in, and clearly we're seeing the response, quite rightly, to unacceptable behaviour. Now, we've seen these sort of things in other sports too. If you went back in time to the IOC, the Olympic Committee, when Juan Antonio Samaranch was running it, they changed their pattern behavior. Juan Antonio stayed at the head of the IOC. He changed it. That was reinforced by Jacques Rogge, and now Thomas Bach, the new president from Germany, is very strong. For example, at Sochi, he condemned the anti-gay and the position taken by the Russian government, anti-demonstration.
Right. As you say, it all boils down to the leader.
Exactly. And negotiated with Putin and got changes. And his speech at the opening at Sochi was very strong on these subjects. So you've seen it. Now, the similar challenges faces Sepp Blatter at FIFA. We've seen, I'm on the board of Formula One, where you have similar little sort of not ripples, more even tsunamis in relation to...
So what are you going to do about it?
Well, push for change, actually. I mean, the answer is, it's a very good question. The answer is you have to push for change. And what we're seeing with the NFL is change, I think, taking place. There's another very interesting phenomenon. It's not just about sponsors responding, it's about the ownership of these clubs. The ownership of the clubs, you know, you look at the LA Clippers and in basketball, and you see the same thing there. There's a change in the generation of team owners. They're less clubby, less sort of male, sort of single-sex club, and more libertarian.
But here's my question, Martin. So, and by the way, the team owners so far, I mean, I talked to Steve Ross of Miami Dolphins last week, and he was like, I don't think Roger Goodell, I think he's done a great job.
He has done a great job.
You do think he's done a great job?
Yes, done a good job generally, historically.
Okay.
But I think Roger Goodell is a strong enough leader, an intelligent enough leader to see that there has to be change. And change,
including himself?
No, not in relation to himself. I think he's strong enough actually to retain his position, as long as he's not implicated in any way in the events that have happened. That you know he was not aware, did not commit a falsehood. I think that's so. I think he will survive that. But I think what will happen, he will survive because he changes the behaviour of the owners, of the players, and the way
which, by the way, has been fostered under his, has grown under his leadership. So he has to take some blame for that as well.
We all have to take responsibility for what goes on. You know, the buck does stop there, but that doesn't mean that you can't respond proactively rather than reactively to these changes and deal with them.
But Martin, on the sponsorship side, I mean, Nike, for instance, they pulled their suspended their partnership with Adrian Peterson, Radisson as well. And I'm curious, whether sponsors now, advertisers, have to do better due diligence when it comes to hiring athletes now to represent their brand.
Well, I think this is, you go back to the case of Tiger Woods and others before. The celebrity endorsement, sports sponsorship, there are dangers that come with that. I'm sure they do a high degree of due diligence. The issue is really, you're never going to eradicate it completely. There will always be missteps, there will always be problems. I think the key issue is how you react to them. And we discussed how quickly people had been reacting. It seems that they reacted more when they were forced to react. Now, the other big issue is that the NFL is probably one of the strongest franchises, sports franchises in the world.
In the
probably
world.
the most.
Yes.
And it's trying to span out now around the world in many forms. So it's the strength of the franchise. I mean, somebody said to me it was amazing how many women were wearing Ray Rice shirts.
And Adrian Peterson shirts, too.
At Baltimore. So the next home game.
Right.
So it is extraordinary. And but the NFL is trying to appeal more to women in terms of viewership and following. You can't have this sort of unacceptable behavior at the same time as you're trying.
Well, as people said, look, there's not going to be any real change, Martin, until people start voting with their feet.
Well, I think,
and the dollars start going out the door.
I think you're starting to see that. I mean, when sponsors do pull out, which one or two have, when sponsors do make the very strong statements that we've heard from Pepsi and Indra just now, and others, it is going to change. And I think Roger Goodell is a strong enough leader to understand that and make the necessary changes.